the 7th grade. No.
Welcome. Anywhere you want to. We won't assign you sitting until the next room.
You want me to do this?
I'm going to get my room really spiffy. Okay.
Do you want me to like turn if we're changing English thing?
All right. All right, so we have kind of hit differentiation a couple ways now, but I guess in math class specifically, we have the two of us in the class every day. So we looks a little different maybe than in some other classes. So we try to use a kind of a flexible grouping. It's kind of fluid every day. So some students are better at some parts of math than other parts. So one day you might excel at maybe solving equations, but you might have some trouble with fractions. So depending on what we're in, the groups can be different day to day or week to week or whatever it happens to be. Throughout the 3 years here, we have 6th grade is basically general math. So in the table kind of in the back corner there, we have our 3 books. It's just a progress in mathematics book. So it's kind of just connecting the 5th grade through to the kind of pre-algebra. So there's a little bit of stuff that kind of builds on that. Mr. Lynn calls the gateway to algebra. As we get into the 7th grade, as Mrs. Blake said, we have our accelerated curriculum that we're following. So that's a full pre-algebra kind of course. And then once we move into 8th grade, everybody will get an Algebra 1 class throughout that whole year. We kind of try to focus in on some problem solving, right? We want to get our kids thinking. We want them to really engage with the world around them more than just, I always tell them, I say, I have to do word problems. I say, well, you're not going to walk down the street. Dad, oh, look, there's 2 plus 2 on the ground. I know how to solve that. That's 4, right? You don't ever see real world problems like that. You have to be able to take what you're given, pull out the information that you need, and really be able to solve it. We do lots of technology, right? We play some games with them. Kahoot game is one that they love. They
you all know Kahoots?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they love Kahoot, right? It gives them, so they, on their tablet will have 4 choices. That's like a circle, square, diamond, and triangle. They have to look at the board up here, has the question, and the answers will be at the bottom. So they have to figure it out there, pick which one they want, hit it on their tablet. Gives them points. They get to make their own name. They have a blast with it. We talked about the stock market game a little bit. So this is our 2nd year doing a stock market game. They're broken into groups per class, about 4 to 5 people, depending on how big the class is. They work together. They get to do some research in stocks. So the stock market game works directly off the real stock market. So it'll have real closing prices that day, what they are. So they have to buy at least 10 transactions throughout that time. They're given $100,000 at the beginning. They have to pick, and then they can see if their portfolio goes up or down. And we track it. We put it up on the board and say, oh, there's who's in the lead. See what we can do. And then we also have a JA finance program, which is a junior achievement. Puts that up together. And we do that with the 7th grade to give them a little bit of money sense in the world. I think throughout the program, they're given a job and they say, here's how much you're going to make. Can you make it with your bills that you have to pay in your house and your insurance and everything you guys already know about? Mr. Lane, what kind of fun stuff do we do too?
Well, certainly we like to mix it up, and through the week we'll have our new topics, concepts. We like to deliver that, and then again, the flexible grouping allows us to see who gets it right away, who can move on with more advanced problems or situations with that topic, and who needs to work a little bit more directly with that particular concept. So we have this room, we have that room, and so we can divide up into areas where one teacher will be there, one will be here working with the groups as they need them. As far as our other things, we'll have stations set up where they can move around and work on different topics. What we also like to do is make sure we keep revisiting what they have learned over the past few years, because you always want to carry your knowledge with you, and especially in math. I know other subjects as well, but math, it's super important We do like to put in some fun with it. Number sense is very important to both of us. I know that we do number talks, number topics, and to develop number sense, we have this game called the 24 game. Is anyone familiar with that? It's a great thing. A lot of kids who hadn't seen it this year, the minute we started playing it, they just latched onto it immediately. Being able to take 4 numbers, using each one time, and the other arithmetic operations, and coming up with 24 for it. So they like that a lot. Also for more advanced topics where we get into expressions or equations or absolute values, exponents, things like that. Mr. Wilson has the battleship game where they divvy up into pairs and they basically try to sink each other's battleship by identifying squares where there are problems or expressions to evaluate, and if they do it correctly, then they've sunk that battleship. So those are a couple of good things. I have another thing which I got to make sure that we can do. I have a little Nerf game where we set up a target and have teams with competition. The kids, middle school, you know, boy or girl, doesn't matter. They love the competition. So math is a great thing to build the competition in. So we do that a lot. Again, along with the number sense too, Mr. Tuck talked about the Spanish as a language. Math is a language all to itself. It's the language of pretty much every other science in addition to its own language. I like to make math very conversational with people. We will get in discussions. I will ask them, you know, the Socratic method, oh, tell me what division is again. And, you know, then we'll say, what is it we're doing? Let's identify it. Let's give it a better name so you recognize exactly what you're doing when it's can be used as one of the tools you have going forward. So, again, it's a life skill. Math is just like all the other subjects, they're life skills, but math is its own little category because so many different topics. Some kids will be great at some, not so great at others. That's why we say S is on the end of mathematics, because there's so many different ones. So it's all a building thing. It's making sense. It's feeling comfortable with it, and just being a better mathematician day by day. So that's what we do.
Anybody have it? Anybody got 24 yet? You have to
I got it.
use each number. All right, what is it?
I just did it. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 7. Oh, my goodness, it's 23.
7 times 2 is 2 times 14. 8 plus 2 is 10.
Here we go. We got one of the ladies.
You get the jolly rancher.
You got Miss Schmidt way. Mr. Wilson, I came up.
Yeah, so we did it. We did 7. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. 3 times 8 gives you 24. So.
You, sir, get a jolly rancher.
And yeah, the Jolly Rancher's the man here. And actually, the 24 is also great because it keeps building. We have the 6th grade to do something like that. Then we have the fractions where you can divide and multiply fractions. We have the integers with the negative numbers. Then we get all the way up to the algebra. So this is the thing. It's not like somebody else can't do it too. We find some interesting things that can reinforce them each step of the way. And even the kids who are more visually oriented, a lot of things Battleship and other things can certainly help cement it in a lot better. So having fun and hitting things with different modalities. That's the right word, isn't it? Modalities?
Yes.
It's a word now.
Modalities. I teach speaker.
That's a good
teacher
And
speak.
it's 5 days a week.
5 days for an hour each day. Oh yeah, we're not messing around here. We're not going to let them give us just 4 days. We're taking 5. We're
Not 45 minutes either. We need a whole lot.
And the stock market game is actually during their homeroom period.
Yes.
So it's even additional time with mathematics in middle school. So here we are with religion. Our theme this year, restore with joy, Jesus and others before yourself. Everything in our school is just infused with Catholic identity. We welcome people of all faiths. Yes, your students will learn all about the Catholic religion, but they're also going to learn about history. They're going to learn about the Bible. They're going to learn about Christian values. And we kind of divide the middle school up into 3 areas. We have our Old Testament in grade 6. That's actually, I teach grade 6 religion. Very excited about that. Had the opportunity to do that. We study the Old Testament. But we also, in studying the Old Testament, we look at it as, you know, basically God has made a covenant with his people. And then the New Testament fulfills that. And what does that mean for them? And then we have our New Testament working with the Gospels and the life of Jesus. And then in grade 8, They actually look at the early church by looking at the Acts of the Apostles, the epistles, and then working with morality as well. So in a sense, grade 6 with the Old Testament, we're starting with the 10 Commandments and learning really right from wrong and discussing it on their level. And then by the time they hit 8th grade, to really talk about those topics, because we want them, you know, you learn students who talk about values, talk about character, what those things mean, what does it mean to be honest. They bring that with them, so when they go to high school and they have to make some really tough decisions, they have that basis, they have that foundation. And we also do that by talking about what does it mean to be a Christian, Christian living, the works of mercy, the corporal and spiritual works of mercy, the Beatitudes, and to make being good something that's cool. And I always talk about that at our school, that doing the right thing is a cool thing to do. Being kind to your neighbor, being respectful. And sometimes we'll have new students come in 6th grade, and it's very interesting how quickly we talk about the St. John way, how quickly that they realize that it's okay for them to kind of be like how we are here, and how it's nice to be caring and loving towards other people. We spend some time with personal prayer. We do adoration with our students, and once again, even of all different faiths, it's wonderful to go out and sometimes to see what other faiths have. So we invite people who are not Catholic to participate, not only adoration, but in the Mass. And we go to Mass as a school once a month. And then each grade will go intermittently during the month to our chapel Mass. So it's about 3 times a month, sometimes 4, that our students are going to Mass, and the middle school goes to adoration twice a month. And then, of course, communal prayer. We have prayer in the morning. We begin with prayer. We end the day with prayer. I love the way we end our day, because not only do we say the act of contrition when we're talking about, you know, forgiveness for those things we did wrong, but we also say a wonderful prayer thanking God for all the things that we did today, and to kind of like, you know, put that goodness up back to God for all that He shares with us, and that all our work really meant something today. And our last thing is, I think the most important thing is everything that we learn about God, about the faith, that our response is to follow God by serving others. And that's why our theme, we soar with joy, Jesus and others before yourself. And our the Archdiocese itself has, this is the year of service, so we are created for good works. So we do outreach on a regular basis at our school. So our students once a month can pack an extra lunch for beans and bread. We have our outreach day during Catholic Schools Week, and everybody adopts a cause where the students will either write cards or make blankets, like for the Ronald McDonald House. We have different people that we pray for in different classes, so that's another opportunity to serve others. We've kind of made a little partnership with the retirement community right down the road, and we actually invited them last year up to our play, and some of our 4th graders were hosts to the residents there, and we're going to have them come down for our Christmas program as well as our play again. And our teachers, our faculty, is actually going to go down there on our retreat day and actually host a bingo, because Catholics are really good at bingo. So we're going to host that down there. And we have our Purple Fridays, where our students can pay 50 cents, and then we choose a cause. Our parish has an outreach program with another school, a Catholic school down in Haiti. And the parish priest comes once a year, and he comes in. Unfortunately, he's coming during President's Weekend, and we're not going to be here, but Father Desalee usually comes in and talks to the students about, you know, his students there, and we've had different opportunities for our kids to raise money, and we either give him a monetary gift, or we've actually bought a projector for the school, so it gives them an opportunity. So that is think you're on your next.
We have one more stop before the last classroom. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions and get something to drink.